When we kick off against Boston, it'll be 3 weeks since we played a competitive game. How does that impact the fitness of the squad and your preparation in terms of match fitness?
It puts us behind in terms of matches and minutes under our belts, and Boston have played a couple of games in that time. But you know, we've trained regularly, and we'll be training right up until and including Christmas Eve. So from that point of view, I'm not too worried about the fitness of the group. The health of the group is improved because of the break, because one or two who had little niggles and knocks, snivels and colds, which is parcel of it for this time of the season, will have given them more chance to subside. So we're looking healthy, and obviously when you don't play for a couple of weeks, particularly after our last game, which we wanted to eradicate very quickly out of our minds, but we usually do bounce back. So we're all positive, looking forward to the game, but obviously look forward to Christmas beforehand.
There's always a bite, it seems, between the Boston and Kings Lynn games. The time, this particular time, it involves obviously yourself against Ian. How does that impact your thinking? Does it change anything? The fans are making things.
And I get that. Listen, derbies are all about the fans, about the two towns and the sets of fans. And listen, I come from a part of the world where it's, you know, it is horrendous at times, and it can be people, you know, that you're very friendly with through the week. But here it's a little bit different. But as far as I'm concerned, I've got no gripes with Ian, and I'm sure he's got none with me. But ultimately, the fans, you know, need bragging rights. The fact that we play each other twice in 7 days, you know, it's, I think whoever does well in the first game, or if one team does better than the other in the first team, they do well to hold their tongues, because there's always a second game around the corner. But like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's the next game in front of us. 3 points available. We'll be looking to try and improve on our last performance. And once that game's out of the way, then I'll talk to you about the second game. So I really genuinely don't look at who's on the bench, opposite me. It's all about what happens on the pitch. We've done our due diligence, as you know, they will have done on us, I'm sure. And obviously he knows a few of the players that are here because they've played for him. So I don't think there's too much we can hide from each other. But I'm looking forward to getting it on, and I think there'll be a great crowd at both games. So I encourage people to come to both games. And as I always say, be vociferous, but be respectful to both benches.
The fitness of the squad obviously has had the advantage of the break. You mentioned or alluded to possible new signings coming in around this sort of time. I know what you're going to tell me, but I'm going to ask the question.
Yeah, we've got them lined. We've got them lined to come. One, we've actually agreed the terms this morning, but he won't be able to play until the new year. Another one we're very, very close to, but we've got, I say this to you every week, we spin plates every week. Whether the January window opens, all that does is it opens up the gambit of amount of players you can sign from, in terms of you can go to the AFL and the Premier League youth. Now, that might indicate we are bringing people in from that level, which is it's not, I'm not trying to hide anything. It's just I can't give people's names out until they're our player, and I wouldn't do that to the opposition or the other club. Sorry. So I think it's only fair that we hold fire on the names, but there'll certainly be new additions come January. I think because what we've seen over the last 6 weeks or so, since the Doncaster game, we lost Jordan, we lost Ben Stevens, we lost Theo. The depth, whilst we have numbers, the depth of the squad, in my opinion, to compete at the right end of the table just needs one or two fresheners, and that's what it'll be. I've had a chat with the players after the Farsley game, and again this morning before training. And listen, the strength of your group is how your leader reacts to the not so good results. And I don't think I've reacted that differently to winning handsomely and losing poorly. And that means I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Once you get into my team or my squad, it's very difficult to get out of it, because I trust you, because I brought you. Whether you were here before or not makes no difference. There's 5 or 6 lads who I inherited who've gone on to be real stalwarts for me in the period I've been here. So, look, at the end of the day, we're just looking forward to getting back on a pitch. And like I said, I see both games being really good games and interesting games for the fans on both sides.
Does the amount of cancellation or postponements make a difference to your thinking about bringing in extra players and thickening the squad, so to speak?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, back before we had any postponements, the injuries were a lot further away from being fit, or the illnesses and the suspensions. But now, a lot of them are very, very close to being able to be certainly considered in the match day squad. So from that point of view, yes is the answer to your question. Will I bring players in for the sake of bringing in? No. I only want to bring players in that are going to affect our starting 11. I'm not going to bring people in to sit on the bench. Doesn't mean they won't sit on the bench, but they're coming in because I think they've got attributes that are possibly slightly different to players in the positions we have at the moment, or because one or two who have been injured for a little bit longer than we hoped, we need that type of player. So, like I said, I say it every week to you, recruitment is an absolutely fluid thing. It can't be, you can't have your eye on a player or a couple of players and think that will sort out my problem. It doesn't work like that. You know, your the car keys you have in your pocket, if I took them out and used them in your car, they will work for me. Human beings are different to that. You got to make sure you get the right blend of person and player to come into this group. And this group's very, I think, are very, very settled in themselves. I think they've got a really good group mentality, collective mentality, and they know exactly what's required of them. So I need bodies that are going to fit into that.
Tommy, thank you very much. Have a lovely Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you at Boxing Day.